In spite of Saul's animosity for David, the death of the king and his son Jonathan at the hands of the Philistines was a huge blow to David personally, as well as to the nation as a whole. David thereon became king of Judah at Hebron, and Saul's son Ishbosheth became king of Israel at Mahanaim. Jerusalem at that time was in the hands of the Jebusites. Well, the early chapters of 2 Samuel tell of David becoming king of the whole land and recapturing Jerusalem, which then became his capital. David's kingdom was still surrounded by other antagonists, kings of other lands, each following their own gods and each a threat. David thus consolidated and expanded his kingdom as his army battled his neighbours, and so his kingdom grew in encounters that we might consider brutal and extreme, with final victory coming over the Edomites in the Valley of Salt. David reigned over all Israel, doing what was just and right for all the people, the Bible history tells us. Well, David's concern was for the holiness of God, and flirtation with foreign idols was to be utterly rejected. The one God is Israel's God. He alone is God of justice and mercy, who had called a people to give his light to the world, and who was leading his people towards his kingdom finally to be made known in the coming Messiah. Our psalm today is associated with the victory over the Edomites, although it reads as a psalm about a nation in defeat. I think we can see this as a psalm in which the king looks back to a place of devastation and loss and acknowledges that every victory has come not from Israel's own strength, but from the hand of the Lord. Psalm 60, entitled, "For the Director of Music, to the tune of the Lily of the Covenant, a miktam of David, for teaching. When he fought Aram Naharaim and Aram Zobah, and when Joab returned and struck down 12,000 Edomites in the Valley of Salt. You have rejected us, God, and burst upon us. You have been angry. Now restore us. You have shaken the land and torn it open. Mend its fractures, for it is quaking. You have shown your people desperate times. You have given us wine that makes us stagger. But for those who fear you, you have raised a banner to be unfurled against the bow. Save us and help us with your right hand, that those you love may be delivered. God has spoken from his sanctuary. In triumph I will parcel out Shechem and measure off the valley of Succoth. Gilead is mine, Manasseh is mine. Ephraim is my helmet, Judah is my scepter, Moab is my wash basin. On Edom I toss my sandal, over Philistia I shout in triumph. Who will bring me to the fortified city? Who will lead me to Edom? Is it not you, God, you who have now rejected us and no longer go out with our armies? Give us aid against the enemy, for human help is worthless. With God we shall gain the victory, and he will trample down our enemies. David knew that in the end, human strength and intellect is flawed, temporary, and transitory, and that we succeed only by the wisdom of the God of justice and mercy. Now, David didn't always practice what he preached, and when he went astray and gave in to temptation, well, so things went wrong, sometimes very badly wrong. Injustice leads to dissent and opposition. Cruelty leads to offence and rebellion. And we know this to be true in our own day. Human strength and intellect has not solved injustice and cruelty, but rather has increased inequality and discord. We are a people that struggle to recognize that which is good in each other. When we drink of our own desires, forgetting the wisdom of God, who shines a light and calls us to justice and truth and mercy and love, well, then we are like a people who drink a wine that makes us stagger. From being a nation in defeat that had forgotten the Lord, Israel's success comes only through the Lord. David knew that a nation that forgets the Lord is lost. A prayer for today. O God, you did not reject us forever, but your will is always that we turn to you, that we may be restored in love and grace. When we chose to follow human wisdom and reject your way, when we lost sight of value you place in each and every one of us, then we inevitably fail. Restore us in your wisdom and set your Spirit within us, that your eternal kingdom of justice and peace may be built among us. Amen.